Another 2 minutes, ma'am. Shall we wait for 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure, sure. Kirti, you can start.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. A pleasant good evening to one and all. Government First Grade College and PG Center, Dharwad. Department of English, VK Gokak English Forum and IQAC has organized Campus Talk series. Today, I, Dr. Kirti Kulkarni, as a moderator, behalf of our college, it's my privilege to extend a warm welcome to our Honorable Principal, Professor J.K. Badigir. Welcome you, sir. And hearty welcome to our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Ibrahim Saudagar and Dr. Basav Rajeshwari Patil, IQAC co-coordinator, GFGC Dharwad. And warm welcome to our program organizer, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Dan Reddy, Head Department of English, GFGC Dharwad.
Okay.
and
Uh,
and and warm welcome to our colleagues, teacher friends, and my beloved students. Today we are privileged to have with us our special guest, Dr. Praveen Korlahalli, Assistant Professor, JSS College, Dharwad, who has kindly taken the time to share the knowledge and experiences with us. So it is behalf of our college, I extend my warm welcome to you, sir. And my we are really grateful to have you, sir, here today.
Thank you, madam.
Today, Dr. Praveen Korlali sir is going to talk about classical metaphysical poem, The Sun Rising by John Donne. The Sun Rising by John Donne. Sir, we are very eagerly looking forward for your words of wisdom. So, without delay, I respectfully invite you, Dr. Praveen Korlali, to deliver his address. Campus is yours, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma. Yes, sir.
Fine, let's go. A splendid evening to all of you. And anyhow, it gives me immense pleasure to talk about one of the typical representative metaphysical poem, The Sun Rising. So I do not just would like to concentrate on this sun rising. And before moving for this poem, just in few words, I would like to throw light on the metaphysical poets. Okay. So, of course, right from the beginning, we have been writing the poetry to impart aesthetic pleasure, to pass the moral ideas and values to the society. Fine. And as far as this metaphysical poets are concerned, actually, they emerged in the latter half of the 18th century. The term metaphysical is actually a phrase which is used by John Dryden, and later it was used by Professor Samuel Johnson. Actually, he who introduced this term authentically, and later it became very important term. In fact, the group of writers under John Donne, George Herbert, Abraham Cowley, Thomas Carew, what they actually did that they mesmerized the readers with their hyperbolic expressions, allegory, extended metaphors, the conceits. It is because of that metaphysical poetry has become a very famous in the history of English literature. It is James I also who encouraged such type of poets in that particular era. And further, uh, when it comes to the metaphysical poetry, it is difficult to understand them with one perspective or a context. If you take any of Donne's poems, you feel at a times it is a typical love poem, it is a lyrical poem, it is a religious poem. You can't you can't compartmentalize with only one channel. You can't look at that with only from one angle, because if you observe the very life of John Donne, John Donne initially he was a Roman Catholic. Okay, he was born in a Roman Catholic family, later converted to Anglicanism. Then he became he became priest actually. And meanwhile, being a scholar who used to be obsessed with learning a language, theology, law, and his journey itself is full of ups and downs actually. And sometimes he showed interest towards romantic tendencies, sometimes he turned towards spirituality, and there was a tussle between his idealism actually. And later he actually married Anne More and absconded for almost a decade. Probably because of all these reasons, John Donne's poetry is culminated with rich love, imagery, and sometimes religious things. Of course, he also touches the sensuous aspects of life also. Nevertheless, so when it comes to the sun rising, before I move to the poem, I would like to just recite it once. And this is the typical metaphysical poem where you can understand the whole characteristics of metaphysical poetry. And always students have complained that The metaphysical poets are difficult to understand. They are very complex poets. The reason perhaps they look at it only from one angle, or they take the meaning word to word. There they are not able to follow it. That's the one of the reasons. Anyhow, let me move with the poem first. Busy old fool, unruly son, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy emotion lovers seasons run? Saucy, pedantic wretch, goat child, late school boys, sore apprentices, go tell court's huntsman that the king will ride call country ants to harvest offices. Love, all alike, no season knows, nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Thy beams, so reverend and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink? But that I would not lose her sight so long. If her eyes have not blinded thine, look, and tomorrow late, tell me whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where you left them, or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou saw yesterday, and thou shall hear all here in one bed lay. She is all states and all princes, I nothing else is. Princes do but play us. Compared to this, all honors mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou son art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine is us is, since thy duties be to warm the world that's done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy spear. I can understand here there are some poetic words, thy, though. Okay. I paraphrase afterwards. Before moving for paraphrasing and all, just I would like to submit my ideas with regard to this poem. As far as my observation goes, the sun rising is built around a few exaggerated assertions, or I can say hyperbolic assertions. First of all, you have adoption of apostrophe technique. Apostrophe is a figure of speech where you have a conversation with a person who is no more, as if he were with you, and that will be continued for a long time. And that is exactly adopted in this poem. If I want to take another best example, Death Be Not Proud of the same John Donne's poems, where he takes a death as if he were talking to that throughout the poem. Emily Dickinson's poem also can be taken as an example. And you can also take the example of P.B. Shelley's Ode to the West Wind, Oh Wild West Wind. Of course, this technique, it mesmerizes the reader. That's why I feel that the poem is built around a few hyperbolic expressions, in that the very first line itself mesmerizes. He calls the sun a busy old fool, and he is so rude, he's audacious, he disturbs us. Let him disturb anybody in the world, let him not disturb the lovers. And this is the one thing. And secondly, as far as his observation, that is love, you can take the many references here. Even I want to take a reference of sonnet 116. It is called true love, right? And Shakespeare's true love, where you can have a sentence, the love is not a times full. And if I want to remember, love is not love is not to the person who has only the infatuation, and it does not alter to the alterations like that. That concept is submerged in the expression of John Donne. He says love doesn't understand the seasons, it doesn't know the climate, hours, people, months. They can all decay one fine day, but love remains polster. Love always beckons the society. It is an immortal concept. This is the beautiful idea portrayed in the poem. The third point which I have observed that the speaker's love is so strong that, and this is exactly the orbit center, and it is with this center the entire universe will glow. This is absolutely amazing concept, and it is a kind of a note to the sun that you need not necessarily go and blaze the world. You should come here. This is your center. Make it a center and glow the world. Need not necessarily go to the east or the west. This is the best place. This is how the concept of metaphysical conceit comes into play here. These metaphysical poets are known for the conceits, an extended metaphor, an exaggerated expression, and something you can't feel a usual expression in a poem. In most of the poems we have, he is like a rose, she is like a honey, like that we have an expressions. They are very common. We can easily understand. As far as this poem is concerned, not necessarily this poem. Take all those. Series of metaphysical poems are concerned, they make us feel wonder with their expressions. Are these really there? You feel for a while. Are these really realistic? Not necessarily. Still, you enjoy the poem. At the end of the day, the intention of the poet is not to tell you like a science. His intention is to make you refreshed. His intention is to make you feel that how the human values are greater than the certain realistic things. Even now also we have been fighting for human values. We fight for true love, truth, kindness, empathy, aren't we? Hence, it is a reminder to all of us that how important the true love in this society is. By the by, the poet will also mesmerize us with the information related with how earlier the biblical truth where the sun revolves around the earth was believed, and it was against the science. Actually, you must have all heard about Kepler, Copernicus, and how they argued in favor of the scientific truth that it is the earth revolves around the sun. It is not the sun who revolves around the earth. And probably here it was believed that the Ptolemaic truth, the sun revolves around the earth, and let him come to us. Our bedroom itself is an orbit center. From that he could revolve. This is really unusual expression. This expression itself indicates that the metaphysical poets always wonder us with their typical exaggerations. Though they are exaggerations, through that they want to impart some interesting messages. Now I come to the paraphrases of this poem. And fine. So the very first line, which attracts the reader, amuses the reader, that is, busy old fool, unruly son, why dost thou thus? He calls the sun is old, and his duty of rising and setting is of no use. You wonder, he calls the sun old, he calls the sun fool. How dare he calls the sun, whom in Indian context we worship him as if he were goddess. He is a great god, right? And he calls busy old fool, unruly son, you are so audacious. Son, you are very rude. You are very arrogant. ನೀನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಅರೋಗಂಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀನು ಏನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀಯಾ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಇದು ಅಂತ. ನೀ ಮೂರ್ಖ ಇದ್ದೀಯ ಅಂತ, ನಿನಗೆ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿದೆ, ನಿನಗೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಿನಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ತಿಳಿತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ. Have we ever seen in the previous poems before metaphysical poets where people used to take these type of assertions? It would be very difficult. You just go through that. Busy old fool, unruly son, why dost thou thus? Why do you thus through windows and through curtains call on us? In other words, through the the areas of the windows, through the gaps of the windows and the curtains. Though we put the curtains through windows, you opened us. In other words, you wanted all of us to wake up. Of course, you have reason in a such a way that your duty is to wake us all. That's not necessary. And it is not we you are supposed to wake up. There are some other people, there are some other, busy people, actually they want to attend something. This is exactly where the sun is taken into the task here, and that is not there in just in the beginning stanza. Of course, this is a poem of a 30 line of three stanzas. It's a poem where everywhere you have those the conceits, the hyperbolic dialogues. Okay, and I continue. Through windows and through curtains, call on us. Must to thy emotions, lovers, seasons run. Must to thy emotions, must to your emotions, must to your moments. In accordance with your rise and fall, should we also moment in life? Should we move with the moment of yours? This is the question. And this is very beautifully asked by John Donne. Whether really the lovers are asking this question or not, we are not sure. By these the questions, he wanted to make them sure that how much their love is impactful. Anyhow, so moving on, he actually and derogatorily calls the son as saucy, pedantic, wretch, goat, child. Okay, and he calls the son is superficial. The son is someone who is not realistic. Someone whom everyone calls scientific is not someone. He is pedantic. In other words, he is a wretch devil. He is not someone whom I should believe and follow, and he shouldn't disturb us. In other words, his intention is that let sun rise, but he should not make the lovers disturbed or interfered by him, and he should go and wake up. Whom should he wake up? The school boys, late school boys, they are late to school. Let those school children be woken up. He should go and wake up the sore apprentices, the people who are about to take the training. The trainees need to be woken up. Further, he should go and wake up the court huntsman. Probably this court huntsman indicates that it refers to the James 1. Fine, and he loves the hunting and all. Probably one of the assumptions. Move on. And the king will ride. Yeah, this king is none other than James 1. He should go and ride. If at all you want to wake up, you go and rise the king, the hunter who you would like to take the expedition, and you go and wake up the school people who are late to the schools. You go and wake up the the trainees who are late to get training. And unnecessarily, why are you intermeddling with our life? Why are you interfering with us? This is not the love which you all think. This is immortal love. Why do you simply disturb us? You busy old fool. You are unruly son. You are simply getting age, not the intellectual capacity. This is really amazing concept actually. See, I wonder John Donne would have been not considered really great lyrical poet. Maybe he might have faced a lot of criticism when he wrote these type of poems. The mindset was also like that, where people used to expect metaphysical poets would come with all dot sorts of experiences. You know why? If I want to take few examples of his other poems, that those poems will mesmerize us with their one beautiful lines. The very beginning line of his another poem, The Canonization, where he says, "For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love." Can anyone wait like that? That's a question. And he says in another poem, "My face in thine eye, thine in mine," appears in his poem The Good Morrow. I have a wonder to think of his another contemporary metaphysical poet, Andrew Marvell. Okay, Andrew Marvell's comparison of the soul with a drop of dew. Can soul be compared to the drop of a dew? This is once again an amazing expression. Similarly, you have done a comparison of two lovers to a compass. in a valediction forbidding mourning. And you have all those expressions which are so mesmerizing. In the similar fashion, you have an expression here by adopting the figure of speech called apostrophe, calling busy old fool unruly son. And the poem continues like from here, and the lines which will make all of us feel happy that love all alike, no season knows, nor climb, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. We are mortals. Obviously, the things around us are mortals. One fine day, we go. We listen to the call. At what time the final call comes to all of us never knows. And for these lovers, anything may decay in the world, anything may become, the puppet in the hands of a time, anything may turn into nothing in no time. However, love remains immortal. Love doesn't understand season, time. Love doesn't know any boundings. Love doesn't have any restrictions. Anyhow, today's generation where all the time people think of love means it is a kind of physical attraction. And in that juncture, can you imagine how beautiful this poem, which juxtaposes the impact of a true love? This is really wonderful. And that is why it reminds me of that great Shakespearean's 116 sonnet, where he doesn't consider that love is not a time's fool, and his argument will be synchronizing with the argument of John Donne, perhaps. Anyhow, so love shouldn't be bound by these many hours I should love, these days I will love, these months I will love. That is never a love at all. Then love is perennial, like how a thing of beauty, joy forever for John Keats. Like that, love is always everlasting. It is always there. That is why still we remember Romeo and Juliet, right or wrong. Antonio and Cleopatra are being remembered because of their true love. The true love will be as good as, like John Keats expresses in Ode on a Grecian Urn. Artist may die, art remains perennial. Art is everlasting. Similarly, the lovers may die, whereas their love remains like a pole star, ever blazing and passing the message that in this wonderful world, it is with a great value called love one can really live. Moving on to the next stanza, and let me come to the structural point of this poem for a while. This is not a poem, either it adopts blank verse or any Spencer in stanzas of previous generations. A typical done poem where it doesn't have any sort of restrictions or rhyme skills, or neither octosyllabic or iambic pentameter, nothing whatsoever. And you don't go in search of, fine, I want to get the rhyme skills, there are no rhymes, this is not a poem. No, 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 that's not at all. The content is given utmost importance than the form. In fact, in nowadays, and most of the poems revolve around the content. There is always interplay between, should we give importance to the content or should we give importance to the form. So moving to the next one, thy beams so reverend and strong, why should thou think? So thy beams, the conversation with the sun continues. Your sun rays are very strong and respectable. Okay, your rays are so respectable and strong. Why should thou think? Do you think are they really respectable and strong? No, they aren't. They aren't that strong as you think. And the next line is a typical metaphysical poem, and it is a typical metaphysical hyperbolic conceit. That is the most beautiful or sparkling line in the entire poem. I just tell this, I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink, but that I would not lose her sight so long. This is so phenomenally expressed. That is, your sun rays, you thought that very strong and respectable, adorable. They are actually not strong. I could literally eclipse your rays. See, can anyone eclipse the rays of the sun? Can anyone literally, create an eclipse on his own? It is certainly impossible. Don't go with this poem typical science type of a man. You go with this poem with some aesthetic mindset, you will get it in different way. Anyhow, so none can blind the whole universe. None can eclipse the whole universe. Can anyone in a fraction of seconds blind the entire sun only? No. But he doesn't want to do that because not even those fractions of seconds he doesn't want to miss the beautiful sight of his beloved. He could eclipse the sun. He could eclipse the rays of the sun. He could do it in in just one wink. To see, for a human wink like this, you need just a few seconds, right? In few seconds, he wants to eclipse means, can you imagine how powerful this love is, how powerful this lover is? Anyhow, but he doesn't want to do that, and he gives the reason that because if her eyes, sorry, I would not lose her sight so long, that milliseconds are also for him very long, and that indicates that how intensified their love is. You need to calculate this, and they don't want to miss. He doesn't want to miss that millisecond also to the beautiful sight of his beloved. And he continues, if her eyes have not blinded thine, look and tomorrow late tell me. It indicates that for him, the charming of his beloved's eyes are so that even they have the ability to blind the sun only. And he tells the sun that if a sun is not blinded by her beautiful sparkling eyes, let the sun go and complete his duty. Let the sun go and look, and let him come the next day, tomorrow late, and tell me whether both the Indias of spice and mine. Okay. So, see, understand, I split and read because sometimes this may be followed by students also. See, if the charming eyes of the beloved, do not blind the sun, let the sun go and do his duty as usual. If he survives and come tomorrow by blazing the both I mean the continents east and west. East is known for the spices and west is known for the mining. Here actually in some connotations you have West Indies known for the resources. Of course you can take the whole Africa and all together for rich resources. And if you take east, of course British came to India because of our spices only. Fine. You go the whole continent, the entire continent, and come again, and you have a message from me, that is, be where you left them and lie here with me, and where you left last sunset. The last sunset, it would be at any point in time. If you want to see the beautiful sunset, simply come with us. We will show you the way. Can anyone show the way to the sun? Can anyone suggest the sun? Can anyone go to the level of telling the very, the duty of the sun? This itself will make us all wonder how wonderful John Donne's conceit is, the metaphorical wit. And he continues, ask for those kings whom thou saw yesterday. Ask the king, and you tell them, and whatever they have observed yesterday, whether it was in the same place or not, because you are very much with us, with our orbit. I come to that point, orbit and all soon. And it is from this place you can literally glow the whole world, and you can just observe that from where you left it last time, and to be there, they need not necessarily wait until you come to the next, because you are here in a power center. You can literally, make the whole world move from where you are. This intensifies the very power of the love. Whether it is truly there or not is secondary, but with these expressions, maybe John Donne wants to tell that is why T.S. Eliot in his essay, he says that a thought to done is an experience, right or wrong. And just a hint, an idea for John Donne is like a profound thought. I mean, it's like a entire universe. He could make it. He could make the reader wonder with his the expressions. That is exactly what we can understand in these lines. And those shall hear all here in one bed lay. You shall be here, don't go elsewhere. From this bed, you can raise the whole world. This is just unbelievably sparkling. Such a puzzling line is this. From the bed of the lover, let the sun blaze the world. Just imagine yourself how wonderful the expression is. And moving further to the last stanza, see, she is all states and all princes, I nothing else is. So he tells that, when he comes back to the bed of the lover, and he could get the point from where the sun can begin, and she's all states and all princess, I nothing else. Okay, the beloved is its the beloved, she herself, I should use encompasses, she herself contains all the states, all the kingdoms, the entire universe is literally with her charm. Why do you literally go elsewhere? I just would like to take a little reference of a mythology when it was asked by Lord Shiva to rotate the entire world to his kids. What Ganesha did, what Shanmuka did. You must have all heard about it that Shanmuka went in and around the whole universe, and what Ganesha did that he just rotated around the sun in father and mother. That is Shiva and Parvati. Whether it was happened or not, don't know. And we believed in that way. And we would like to take this mythological explanation to connote that how clever and intelligent Ganesha is. Anyhow, take in that sense here, be clever, try to be smart. Hello busy old fool, try to be smart, and not necessarily you should go elsewhere. You come here, this is your center, and you take it as a center and blaze the whole world. It is my beloved, she has all the states, she encompasses everything within her, and I nothing else. And what about me? And I don't have anything else what my beloved has, which is everything. And if you come here, this is exactly what the whole universe is. This is really so wonderful. And our world is so beautiful that he continues, that is, princess do but play us. Don't take the word play means they are playing with us. They imitate them, they copy them. Our world is so mesmerizing and beautiful that the people would imitate them, the princess would imitate them. And further, all wealth, all kimi, compared to us, the kind of world we have, the entire wealth of the world is nothing before our world. The whole world is inferior before our world. This is so beautiful. And their love is so great that he further tells that in the next line, those sun art half as happy as we. You, sun, understand your art of glowing the whole world is not as half the happiness as we have. In other words, to put in a very simpler words, the sun is not even half as happy as we are. ನಾವ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೆಸ್ಗಿನ ಅರ್ಧ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿನೂ ನೀನಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಬಹಳ ನಿಷ್ಕಲ್ಮಶವಾಗಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಅನುರಾಗವು ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಬೆರಗಾಗಿಸುವಂತಹದ್ದು, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರೀತಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಇದ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಸನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂತಹ ಅನುಕರಣೀಯಾತೀತವಾದಂತಹ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಬೆರಗಾಗಿ ನೋಡುವಂತಹ, ಈ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನೇ ಬೆಳಗಿಸುವಂತಹ ಸೂರ್ಯ ನೀನು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀನ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡ, ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡ, ನೀ ನಮ್ ಇದ್ದಂತ ಜಾಗದೊಳಗ ಬಾ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಜರು, ರಾಣಿಯರು, ಇಡೀ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಜನರು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಅನುಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ನೀನ್ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಗೆ? ನಮ್ಮ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಎದ್ದು ಬಿಡು, ನೀನು ಇಡೀ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನ ನೀನು ಬೆಳಗುತ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಸೂರ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಧೈರ್ಯವನ್ನ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸೋ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಡ್ through metaphysical conceits. Moving on, and in that the words contracted thus, thine is arts is. This very phrase, thine is arts is. I take it in this way: thine is, you are aged, you are old. Mr. Sun, you are old, and henceforth you need rest. Thine is asks is. As you are old, you need rest. Hence, you are in need of a rest. You need not necessarily go elsewhere. And let our bed be your center and glow the world. Anyhow, so moving on, and since thy duties be to warm the world, that's done in warming us. This is a very simple line for all of the people to understand. That is, your duty is to warm the world. Your duty is to blaze the world, glow the world. Your duty is to raise the whole world through sunrise, right? And what you are supposed to do, that you should blaze the world by warming us only. Could it be possible? And for that a true love, it is seriously possible. Anyhow, and he further continues, shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. You should shine us. That indicates that you will reflect the whole universe only. That is exactly what a few minutes back when I was explaining the few submissions where I said that the orbit center for the John Donne was the sun, and sun was revolving. It was not Earth. Anyhow, and furthermore, this bed thy center is, and these walls thy sphere. This is the bed where we are, and this is your center. These are the walls. Let it be your sphere, and you are not supposed to go elsewhere. This is the place from which you may raise the world. To put all together, you can say that though the speaker alters the duty of the sun. The speaker, you can take the John Donne with his expressions. He just would like to point out that how the love has a so intensified feeling that even go to the extent of inviting a son to change his course of life. uh, I wonder, do you consider it is as an admonishment, or do you consider it is a kind of a suggestion? You take it in the way you want, and it indicates that through this poem John Donne asserts that the love is so binding that you can't literally tame it, you can't touch it. This is a that sort of a love, and this is the love where everyone eagerly wants to follow it. This is the love which doesn't understand any kind of restrictions. Furthermore, this is the love which is fit enough to be considered as immortal. It is because of that reason, and ours is such a superior that you can put it at a very high stance, and that is why your duty you are supposed to change. And this is the world. Maybe I wonder, by taking the reference of the sun, the intention of John Donne is to indicate that how even the natural cycles can also be altered with the concept of a true love. Nobody dares to change the very natural cycle, right? It has to be a natural itself. And here I felt, to connect to the true love, somewhere else this has happened. And you can take later in the romantic poets with the ode to the west wind. I want to remember at this juncture ode on Grecian urn. Okay, heard melodies are sweet, and those unheard are sweeter. The beauty is truth, the truth is beauty. That is all we know, that is all we need to know. Anyhow, in a sense, the kind of beauty which John Keats talks, that is not a physical beauty, that is kind of substantial beauty which is there in artistic sensuousness. That is exactly reflected with the true love which these two lovers have. Don't know who those lovers are. Anyhow, it is a kind of a wake up call to the present century through this poem, that through this poem he wants to pass a message in the present world of a very mad love, very coarse love. Understand, dear readers, which is a true love. Maybe this is the message which is very essential to the entire humankind. I feel it. And one more observation, as far as I have concerned, that is the very word metaphysical in itself. You can understand the meaning. Meta is beyond. Physical world is our surrounding environment. So metaphysical poets with this concept, they go beyond the physical world. They come out with exaggerated images, expression, extended metaphors, allegorical expressions. They bring the myths. They talk about so many beautiful things, and that is why we wonder how wonderful this is. And in the concept of John Keats, beauty is truth, truth is beauty. Maybe for John Keats, for John Donne, it is love. Love is everywhere. Love is universal. That is truthful. It also synchronizes with the Satyam Shivam Sundaram concept of typical Indian philosophy, where something what you call very true, that is all the time truthful, that is all the time applicable, that is divine. We can take that understanding. Overall, when you look at John Donne's sun rising, this render the mighty sun is also powerless. The strong sun may taken into consideration as one of the persons whom you can defeat, whom you can defeat. Okay, it doesn't mean that there is a clash here. There is an argument here, and there is a little comparison here, that so our love is so superior that you all think that a sun is a strong. Have a look at a love. This is actually strong. This is actually worth following. Don't one shouldn't confine that their love is just uh, confinement to the physical lust. I wonder, maybe most of you have experienced nowadays, that the people, when they think of a love, they think of there's a boy, there's a girl, there's a love. I understand that is also love, but that itself is not considered the whole love. The love has such a umbrella meaning. I mean, it has such a huge, connotations. We should take the different perspectives of the love, and then one can follow the reality of it. That's what one has to inculcate in a life. Maybe through this poem for first year optional English students, they would like to make them realize that the true concept of a love. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be given a message in a such a way that they wanted to uh, derogate the sun, they wanted to derogate the natural things, whatever they have that is superior. One shouldn't go to that conclusion. That's not here actually. Mm. It's a typical human, the values was something which is very natural for all of us, and that is going to be worth to follow. This is what I feel about the sun rising. And through this sun rising, one can go for some of the important metaphysical features. And usually metaphysical features are they are intellectually rigorous. They are known for the hyperbolic expressions. They are known for conceits, philosophical subtle thinkings, and everywhere they bring extended metaphors. They don't use the common similes. They bring something which is very unique. That is why a thought to done was an experience. It modifies his sensibility. T.S. Eliot is absolutely true. Maybe it is because of all these expressions. T.S. Eliot in 20th century, in his essay, he remodified them. Almost people have forgotten in the long run, and he reintroduced them, and that has come very handy that people flipped through those poems again and enjoy. Anyhow, thank you so much for listening to me.
Wow, sir, amazing. You have illustrated the poem with the meaning of the metaphysic, love as physical and spiritual. Thank you very much, sir, for that insightful and impeccable, engaging session. Your interpretation has truly deepened our understanding of the poem and its rich literary significance. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
madam.
very much, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Now I request our principal, Professor J.K. Badikar, sir, to give remarks.
No, no.
Sir,
If any
welcome.
student, if any students
Yeah,
want to ask
please,
question,
Yes, sir.
let them ask.
please.
After his remarks, it is open session for queries, sir.
Okay, okay.
Very good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
Uh, Respected guest speaker today, my friend Praveen Korlahalli, and all the teachers, Dr. Kirti, Professor Bimsen, Dr. Dan Reddy, and all my colleagues present here, and dear students who have joined from different colleges. Mm, In fact, it's a very happy moment listening to Praveen again on a very important poem of John Donne, which has been much discussed in the context of metaphysical poetry. So it was a very nice explanation. You have illustrated his brief biography, then introduced what is metaphysical poetry, and then read the poem, The Sun Rising, and there was an extensive comparison of this poem with the other poems of John Donne, whether it is Valediction, Forbidding Morning, the uh, canonization. So variety of explanations are there, and again, in the end, you have focused on T.S. Eliot's assessment of John Donne in his famous essay Metaphysical Poets. Students should now understand because whenever we are talking about metaphysical poets, we consider John Donne as the leader of metaphysical poetry. Although it was a group of poets who followed the Elizabethan poets, because there is one important statement about them. If Elizabethans played with words, the metaphysicals played with thoughts.
Yes.
There is little deviation from the frenzied, mad, or what we call imaginary love poems of Elizabethans. Whereas Donne and his company have been very, very cautious of seeing love from a different point of view. Sometimes very practical understanding of that. If you look at Donne's other poem, Lovers in Finiteness, it is something funny, and he says that love should be rewarded properly. And here you also spoke about the conceits used by John Donne and many metaphysical poets. You all know that Donne has been very, very special. He wrote love poems, he wrote religious poems, all both secular as well as religious poems. And this Sun Rising comes under his secular and love poems. And the very interesting thing is that he questions sun. He blames sun for being a disturbing thing. We find it very, very funny and interesting. And when he calls sun a busy, old, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? A sun as a disturbing. Sometimes uh, he calls him fool, old fool, you know, disturbing because uh, son doesn't understand the problems of the lovers. The same thing happens in many of his poems that you know um, he he considers again love is a very sacred thing, and consider that It is better than everything. This is very, very true. All the poems we have discussed so far, the poems of Spencer, the poem of uh, Burns, My Love is Like Red, Red Rose. Perhaps I think we have prescribed more love poems this time than, except a few essays like Revenge and other things, because all these things deal with human impulses, impulses of approach and impulses of retreat. Particularly, there is a more focus on love, importance of love, romance, and the harmony of life. So I really congratulate Praveen for
Thank you, sir.
wonderful explanation of this poem. And this poem is again, as you see, there is a wonderful, you know, comparison. And then he says that love is better than everything, better than the kings, better than kingdoms. That shows that, in general, if you look at it, man doesn't want many things actually. We, in common terms, we say that we want to be at peace, we want to be in harmony, we want to be in, we want joy and all that. All these things will not come unless you love this world, unless you love the companion, unless you love someone so intensely. It does not, because it is the circuit I consider,
Yes.
the circuit of love, or what you can call it in electronics or whatever. What I mean to say, the same thing, is expressed by Matthew Arnold in his famous poem Daw Beach. He says, the whole world, the sea was once upon a time, the sea of fate was full. Now it is disturbing. Everything, the whole world looks so various, so beautiful, so nice, but it has neither love nor help for the poor. He says the whole world is now full of such people who are selfish. So, in such situation, what is the solution? Mm, Even Matthew Arnold makes it very clear. He tells his beloved, he tells his wife who was standing beside him in a hotel room, and he tells her, "Ah, love, let us be true to one another. Let's be true to one another, because the whole world may not be in favor of, love. But if at least we are true to one another, we would be able to make life rather joyful." So, all these poets invariably explain and try to explain that love is something spiritual. It is not just bodily. Although Donne has used such conceits, because there was a discussion on conceit. What is a conceit? Conceit is a figure of speech in which two dissimilar things are joined forcefully, yoked by violence together. It says yoked. ಅದು ಒಂದು ನೊಗ, ಈ ಒಂದು 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 ಹೆಂಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನ ಆಡು ಎರಡಕ್ಕೆ ನೊಗ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗಾಗ್ತದೆ, that is like yoking. Yeah, because sometimes they appear to be very, very strange. In a flea is compared to bridal chamber. The true love, although Shakespeare says that true love is the marriage of true minds, he mocks him. True love, it can be found in a flea, because in a bridal chamber it sucks the blood of both the lover, beloved and lover, so that there is a union, bridal chamber. And in valediction, forbidding mourning, I think, or in canonization, he compares two lovers to two legs of compass. Two legs of compass. Love is constant. I would be always at the center. You would be always at the center, and I would be moving around. But there is always a connection. Although there is a physical distancing, it is not disconnected. That's what true love is. It is not just spatial. It is not just temporal. It is beyond the space, beyond the time. And this is how all these poets have tried to explain love as something divine and celestial at the same time. Although the wordings are different from, because Elizabethan poets, because it was at that time, there was just a Renaissance, there was just a imitation of Greek and the Italian form of poems. There was some use of words. Whereas by the time Donne and his company were writing poems, English language and English literature was more mature. There was an experimentation also. So in this case, you can see Donne's poem something different from Elizabethan way of writing. So it's again very wonderful to listen to all of you and my friends. Again, it is a great happiness. All the evenings have been very great since Vimsen started, inaugurated this, particular series. And all the friends have been wonderfully talking. And again, happy to see all of you, and particularly Praveen today, for
Yes,
a
sir.
very simple and direct explanation. And I hope our students have fully utilized his talk. Thank you very much again, and thanks for giving me opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful remarks. Now it is open for the discussion. Dear students, if you have any queries, please ask. Students,
No questions.
So,
Normally they used to ask questions. Where are you, all the boys and girls?
at least if you have your ideas, you can connect to that. Come on.
Simrin Banu, do you have any questions?
Why she's the she must be asking so many questions in the classes.
Yes.
No, ma'am. No, no questions, ma'am.
Well, if you don't have any questions,
Hmm.
I just want to add two more things. What already
Please.
my dear Praveen and my teacher
Yes, sir,
Badgir sir
please, please, sir,
spoke
please.
already. You know, as Badgir sir rightly pointed out, that Donne differed from Elizabethan writers.
Yes.
We historians, no, we teach him as a father of metaphysical poetry. Actually, he's a contemporary of 16th century. But for our studies conveniences, we put him in 17th century.
Ah,
As a matter of fact, he belongs to 16th century itself. Since he is different from other writers, as Badger sir rightly pointed out, we put him in metaphysical school of poetry, and we know that the next generation of poets in 17th century followed Donne's example, and there came along a school called metaphysical poetry. Metaphysical poetry, as he Praveen pointed out, that beyond this world, they what you call paramarthika or alaukika,
ah,
as it happened in 12th century in India, where Akka Mahadevi
yes.
is a metaphysical and mystic poet, where she has two persons in her life. One is Arjuna, and he's her husband. One was physically available, but another was not physically available. He was present there, but not physically, but metaphorically he was available. Okay, and here this poem is the best example of a monologue.
Yes.
Okay, it's a monologue,
Yes,
and
sir. It is a dramatic monologue only, right?
yeah, monologue, and it was made famous in Victorian period by Browning
Robert
and Tennyson
Browning.
and others
Yes.
and all. And one more thing, my dear students, if you look at the structure, and he beautifully spoke on the structure of and rhyme scheme and all. Here we have two questions in this poem, and those two questions are: through windows and through curtains call on us, a question mark, and must to try motions lovers seasons run, another question. These types of questions in poetry or in oration, they are called as
Are the
rhetorical
rhetorical.
questions.
Yes.
Rhetorical questions. And why the poets and rhetoricians use the questions? They don't want to ask you a questions. They don't want an answer or
Yes, sir.
explanation. They want to explain. They want to clarify their point. That is why they put questions, and such questions are called as rhetorical questions.
One
We
point I
already
want to
know.
add. Just if winter comes, can spring be far behind?
Yeah,
There's a
yeah, yeah,
question mark
yeah.
actually.
Yeah. The best example is, as you pointed out, that "Oh, to the west wind, if winter comes, no, if winter comes, can spring be far behind?" Is a rhetorical question. And we already know that there are questions like WH question. If a
Yes.
sentence starts with WH, what is a WH question? Yes or no type questions, tag questions. It is another type of question which is called as a rhetorical question. And here, it is very difficult for a teacher to explain metaphysical love poetry for the second semester students. It goes very difficult. Here it is, as sir pointed out, my teacher, but here sir pointed out that love stands the test of time and space, and the love goes beyond this physical world, where we cannot imagine this world without at least our solar system without the sun. And here, then what he does, he he claims that their bed itself is the center of their universe, and everybody has their own world and their universes, and it is the power of love, power of a person. At one point he says that I could cause an eclipse by just closing my eyelid. Okay. In that way, you know uh, it's a very difficult poem to explain for young students. For the mature and all, it can be elaborated, the conceit, elaborated metaphor, far-fetched images. That is very easy for the mature readers or advanced readers, but goes very difficult. These metaphysical love poems, particularly if you want to teach to my koi mistress or to his
Yes.
koi mistress.
The vegetable love should grow means what kind of
Yeah.
vegetable love?
And your chastity will be tried by the worms and all.
Yes.
It is a difficult thing for a teacher to explain in the classroom also. And since they are young, and new to the literature and all, they may
And one
mistake
more
the.
thing, sir, I think it is to ward off their misconception of love right from the second PUC only. Actually, the
Yeah,
very
yeah.
first poem of second PUC about Romeo and Juliet, infatuation, what is true love? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
but you pointed out that in
Mm,
when you were talking, I observed you,
mm,
I listened to you very carefully. One, you pointed out that Romeo Juliet,
mm.
and another one was
Antonio and Cleopatra.
Antonio and Cleopatra. And
Mm,
in the modern time, the critics are criticizing that
mm.
Romeo Juliet is not an ideal love story because they were too young. Romeo was just 14 years and Juliet was
Okay,
12
okay.
years.
Yes,
How
yes.
could they were just boys and girls? They are not mature.
Mm,
And you cannot take Antonio Cleopatra as the best example, but Cleopatra had never been a sincere lover.
mm.
you know,
That's
Caesar and Cleopatra. If you read Caesar, two plays are available. One is
mm.
Antonio and Cleopatra, and Caesar and Cleopatra. And if you look at the very,
Probably it is better to go
the
with
very,
Orlando's
yeah,
love of
yeah,
as you like it.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
right.
That is nice because
That is ideal love.
if you read the history of Cleopatra,
Yes.
uh, we know that what that's what Bernard Shaw wrote it in a different way, and
Ah,
Shakespeare.
yes. Yes.
These are the point. Otherwise, you wonderfully explained it and all, and I congratulate you and
Thank you.
the organizers. It's been a wonderful venture, and moreover, we have our teacher. It's always a pleasure to listen to Dr. Padger and
Indeed.
his
Indeed.
interpretation
Yes,
and
sir.
his mesmerizing
In
voice.
in fact, we now found a forum to listen to our friends. That has been a, long pending desire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Particularly, the younger generation of teachers are coming out with the best ideas. So
Yes.
the next generation is now ready. We will retire slowly.
Yeah, happily, 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 happily. I have
See,
seen our
sir,
seniors grumbling what would happen to English forum, what would happen to English department, it will go to the dogs and all. No, no, no. There are always people available to replace.
Thank you, thank you.
yes, sir.
Yes.
We assure
Any
the guarantee
questions?
that what best we can, we will
Yeah, yeah.
disperse.
And you are the guiding force.
No, let us continue this process
Sure, sir.
because when I insisted on Dr. Dandade, she started this process. It will be in a wider format now. It will be a regular uh, one, so that we can extend it to some other level also. We shall think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we shall go for questions. If there are no questions, Kirti, you can just ask whatever.
Thank you, Professor Bhimsen Ugrat sir, for sharing your thoughts here. Sir, shall I wind up, or is there anybody to discuss regarding this?
If there are any questions, you can take. Otherwise,
Or shall I
anyone?
call it later?
Okay.
You can ask very basic questions like how the questions will be set on this poem,
Okay.
Very
how to
important.
answer the questions, how to develop the questions. You can ask very simple questions like that.
No, particularly on sun rising, there will be essay type question only. It is only the long poem compared to other poems we have.
Yes, yes, correct.
Mm.
Sir.
Already, madam, want to say something?
Yeah, just I want to add one thing. I just recall one of the very beautiful moments shared by my teacher, Professor Baswaraj Donu sir. When Shakespeare plays were taught in the PG classes to them, and when sir did not understand a play, I think King Lear or some other play, and he lags behind Kirtinath Kurtkoti sir and asked, I'm unable to understand this play, sir. Then he said, you go to home, you go to market and purchase. Did you read any Vachana of Basvanna? And he said, no. Then you go to market and purchase Vachana's book of Basvanna and read, understand, and come back. And after coming back, and he suggested him that unless you understand Basvanna, you never ever understand Shakespeare. And Bhimsen, when he was bringing a kind of comparison with Akka Mahadevi's Vachana, with the Donne's love poetry. In fact, understanding metaphysical poems that are beyond the world is not a easy step, but it's not so difficult as well, unless we understand our own poems written in our own mother tongue. And probably we never understand any rich poem which is written in the other language. That's what so many great teachers, including Badge used to taught us in the classes. Even if I'm not a direct student from to Badge but I used to discuss so many things regarding these kind of issues. And probably I suggest the students, unless we understand our own literature, better to read the literature Kannada and any mother tongue, whichever your mother tongue is. Then
Yes.
you easily understand the English literature. This is my opinion.
Madam, I have an idea to connect to this actually. I used
Yeah,
to, in fact, I coined a new word actually.
yeah,
So, most of the times when we bring the global to the local, we make it a
yeah,
glocal.
yeah.
So, it really, mesmerizing for them to understand. They can
True.
easily compare that to the regional flavor
Correct.
that becomes easier for them to understand. That's correct. I agree.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Shall I move on the thank you? Good evening, everyone. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
good evening.
Yes,
Sir, I have one question to all my
please.
teachers. How we become a good literature students because we are beginner on this field. Sir, you can suggest us.
Yeah, very good question.
Shall I
Praveen, can
proceed?
we add?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, anyhow, the question is how to take an interest in literature. I want to take in that way. Is it right? We are beginners. We are not getting certain things. How to understand this, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. See, first of all, regardless of language of a literature, love literature. This is my valid suggestion. I used to suggest this to most of my students. They are afraid of English as a language. They have love with literature, but when it comes to English literature, then they think that okay, it is difficult. Okay, in any simple language, it is in Kannada language or in any of their mother tongue, if they are interested, let them read. At least it incentive their reading habit. Slowly they can switch on to the English. That they can do. Let them read Kuvempu, Benre, let them read some Kannada, beautiful, profound literature. Okay, they can feel that, okay, this is characterization, this is a narration, this is a change of a course. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಭಾಷೆ ಒಳಗಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಆ ಭಾಷೆ ಒಳಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಮೃದ್ಧ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯವನ್ನ ಓದ್ರಿ. ಅದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಇರೋಲ್ಲ ಓದ್ಲಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್. ದೆನ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ಯಾಷನೇಬಲ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಲಿಟ್ರೇಚರ್ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಸಡನ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ಅ ಶೇಕ್ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್, ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಫೀಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಒನ್. You may take a single, a very simple poem, or you can take a poem of a 10 lines and read. That becomes easier way to understand a literature. Something you begin with, you have interest and looks simple, and slowly you can grow. That is what I feel.
The basic question is actually interest matters all, as Praveen was talking about. And this girl always, try to understand so many things. Although, there are many of us are first generation learners here. We are not gifted with the English speaking parents back home or highly educated parents back in the home. So many of our students are first generation learners. Obviously, the exposure to language, exposure to this, and what we call the ecosystem may not be like that. But if you really make use of the gadgets you have, the facilities we have, even in government colleges, these online and digital facilities are easily available for everyone who has a minimum phone and all that. So continuous listening, continuous reading. Again, the best thing is reading maketh a full man, writing an exact man, conference a ready man. So read, because for that you require some kind of madness. I have told you, crazy. You should be crazy. There are some boys and girls who are very crazy about literature. So one day you will certainly develop that kind of interest. When you develop interest for listening, obviously you develop interest for speaking. When you develop habit of reading, you develop habit of writing. They are all complementary. That's what I always say. So 2 times listening, 1 time speaking, 2 times reading, 1 time writing. This should continue, and perfection will come. Start writing small sentences. Start speaking small sentences. Don't worry. Don't bother about other people who comment on you. So keep yourself in mind. The best listening habit will certainly provide you the best speaking habit. So this should continue. That's what we have opened a readers club in our college, and we are ready to provide books We are ready to, mm, conduct some reading sessions also. Let's do like that. I think this will help you develop good reading habit. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, you are right. The basic hurdle to take interest in literature is the very language itself. We are apprehensive. What do you call? We are worried about the language. So it is my request to the students that they should cultivate a habit of listening first. As I pointed out when I spoke, that you should flag one or two teachers in your college and whom you find excellent. For example, there is Professor Badger, there is Vijayalakshmi Dan Reddy, there is Kirti. Okay, and you flag these three teachers and listen to them carefully. The way they speak, the way they present themselves, the way they stand and talk. A confident speaker always stands tall and talks. Okay, and change your habit. The problem is that you study English, optional English in English, but other subjects, your other DSCC in Kannada. Okay, that is another problem. For example, if you take history or economics, any other subject, if you study it in English also, that will definitely help you to enhance your vocabulary and understanding of the language and other things. And see, there are, as Padigar sir rightly pointed out, that we may not have English speaking surrounding around us, but we definitely create one. You can have a friends group and you can talk very simple English like, where are you? When will you come? How are you? And whenever you learn new word, you should also learn to use it in a sentence. And don't hesitate. Speak. The best way to speak to learn a language is to speak. That is what C.L. Ren also writes in his History of English Language. And he pointed out that English is one of the easiest languages to speak badly, but a very difficult language to speak properly. So create your own circle. And I pointed out that there is a serial called Mind Your Language. Okay. And there are wonderful stand up comedians like Gabriel Iglesias, Noha, and other people are there. And if you listen to them, and you will definitely, your ears will definitely get accustomed to the language. You will gradually and eventually start understanding the language. So watch English movies, read English magazines, watch English soap operas, serials. Okay, watch BBC and all. That will definitely help you a great deal. This is what this is how I worked it out, because I too come from rural. My parents were illiterate and all. Let us learn from other sources. Okay, now you are lucky that you have other sources, and another best way is to read. You have to read and read and read. This is my suggestion.
Thank you, Vimsen Ugrat sir, for your valuable suggestions to our students. Is there anybody? Ma'am, shall I wind up?
Uh, yeah, if no questions, we can wind it up. It's
Okay.
almost 8:24. Yeah. Thank you, Kirti.
I would like to
Thank you,
express
Praveen
my
sir. Thank you so much.
I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our chief guest speaker,
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you,
Praveen
madam.
Korlahalli sir, for his valuable and enlightening lecture. And I thank to our principal sir, Dr. G.K. Bhadia sir, for his guidance and support. And I thank our IQAC coordinators, Dr. Saudagar and Patil Madam, for their support. And as well as our program organizer, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Madam. Thank you so much for your support and guidance, ma'am. I thank all my faculty members and my beloved students for their attentive presence. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Bhimsen, and thank
Thank
you,
you, sir. Thank you
everybody.
so much.
Good night. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye, sir. Good night. Good night. Good night.
you. Nice.